Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. Is silver a bad investment? Actually, the proper question would be, is silver the right investment for you? Just because something is profitable does not mean that it's the right fit or the right choice for you. Everyone has different financial situations, right? Different amounts of income, different exit strategies, different time frames of selling, different goals, right? It's really an individual investment. And that's something that you're going to have to figure out as soon as possible. That's why in my videos, I try to not so much tell you what to do. I try to teach you what I've learned in the different options you have. So then you can apply that to your own stack, to your own portfolio. Kind of like catch a fish for a man, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. That type of situation. So with that said, silver's definitely the safest and smartest investment, and I can say that confidently. And that's because the dollar is collapsing. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power due to hyperinflation. You can see we're 27 trillion 249 billion 303 million 979,168 dollars in debt. And that's a real number. And we're about to throw trillions and trillions more into the economy because of this pandemic, even more because of the green energy uh, revolution that Joe Biden's starting. And on top of that, silver is needed for all those solar panels because of photovoltaic. So silver is definitely coming out on top. There's no way that precious metals will not benefit from any scenario, whether candidate A or B won the election. Precious metals are definitely a very bullish, highly potential investment. And I can say that confidently. But doesn't mean that you should just go all in on gold and silver. It's the smartest investment, but I didn't say that it's the right one for you. Precious metals is a much slower paced type of investment. Whereas you have something like Bitcoin where you can see it skyrockets dramatically. And then you have something like gold and silver that is more dragged out. So if you have a shorter time frame, and by the way, Bitcoin is also a very profitable, wouldn't say it's as safe as precious metals, but there's still a lot of opportunity with Bitcoin. It's not talked about as much when the first Bitcoin boom happened because it's slower paced. You can see it happened overnight basically, and that's why it crashed so fast. Now it's kind of gradually building stability, and that means it's going to stay at these prices. It's not going to crash right after. So crypto is definitely a nice solution. We're going into a digital age, a technological era. And if you think of money in the future, it's probably going to be something kind of like Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is definitely another one that you could choose. It's definitely for a smaller time frame. If you're looking to make a quick buck, maybe something that is within the 3 to 5 year time frame, and then you're ready to retire, ready to cash out. Precious metals probably isn't the best idea. It's more of a hedge against inflation. It's more of putting your money in a time capsule. It's the long haulers, right? I mean, there's quick flippers. There's definitely ways to make money for the short term, but most people aren't planning on selling for 10, 15, 20 years. Like myself, I'm not planning on selling for like 15, 20 years. So I have a much different idea, a much different game plan than someone that would be investing for 3 to 5 years. So, with that said, I'm never gonna portray something that's not the full picture. There's a lot of channels. There's a lot of articles. There's a lot of sources. Not even just silver pumpers that will kind of tweak the full picture or give more of a misleading type of idea or belief or even a fact to the audience, giving them a false hope. I'm not going to tell you that silver is going to be $100 tomorrow because it's not. Probably not even 3 years. Some people are saying $100 silver by next year. That's great. If it happens, it probably won't stay that high because that's way too fast. But you get what I'm saying. And this also, it doesn't just go with silver's price. I'm going to show you about things that precious metals lack or have flaws in. And that has to go with much deeper than just where the price could be in the short term. So this article is talking about, should you invest in a silver? And I like it because it goes over a pros and a cons list. So I mainly chose this article because I wanted to break down the cons and show share some of my opinions, and also see where they're headed within the cons and see if I agree. So before we jump into this article, make sure to smash the like button. Liking the videos is great. Subscribing is definitely more important for you. Liking the videos helps me. Subscribing is for you, because on a daily basis, I will give you guys the most relevant, the most up-to-date, important information of what's happening around the world, how that's affecting precious metals prices, and what you should do about it. It's so critical to be watching or tuning into channels, at least like mine, because you got to stay in the loop. And I'll give you guys the inside scoop. So important. You cannot be blindly investing into these markets. And expect to make money. So you got to be watching videos, keeping up to date of what's happening. And I got you guys. I definitely got you guys. So, with that said, let's jump into this article. As with anything in the market, investing in silver bullion has both pros and cons. And what's appealing to one investor may not be a good choice for another. That's kind of what I was just saying. I didn't even read through this article fully yet, and they're kind of on the same page as me, so that's a good start. Silver just came off of a more prosperous year than it has seen in a while, and as the silver price rises, many investors interested in the silver market are wondering if now is the right time to buy physical silver and make it a part of their investment portfolio. And there's not always a right time to buy. Just like there's not always a right time to sell. You got to buy the dips, sell the tops. You can't just buy silver whenever you feel like it and then sell it whenever you feel like it and expect to make money. Now, right now, it's definitely more lenient, because $25 silver, $26 silver, paying an extra dollar or two above spot, in the grand scheme of things, if you're planning on selling in 10, 15, 20 years, that's not going to make any difference, right? That's pennies to the dollar. It really won't matter. Some people it does, like the coupon people or the people that drive 10 miles away to get gas. It's a penny cheaper when they spent that money driving there. But in the grand scheme of things, whether you're paying $25 for an ounce of silver, 27, we're talking about $50, $100 silver prices, so that really isn't going to matter too much. While silver can be volatile, the precious metal is seen as a safety net. It's a safe haven. People transfer their money into precious metals in times of economic uncertainty. Similar to its sister metal gold as safe haven assets, they can protect investors in times of uncertainty, which I just said. With tensions running high, they could be a good choice for those looking to preserve their wealth in these difficult times. So, with those factors in mind, let's look at the pros and cons of buying physical bullion in the form of silver. Pros of investing in silver bullion. Silver can offer protection. As mentioned, investors often flock to precious metals during times of turmoil, and that's definitely true. It's putting your money into something as the dollar is collapsing. Gold and silver have been valuable for 5,000 years. Our fiat system is a newborn baby compared to that, right? The dollar is set up to fail. It literally is. There's no way that a fiat-based system can survive and thrive. It's set up to literally get worse and worse. And that's why you see this $27 trillion in debt. It's getting worse, not better. You're never going to see this number start going downwards. It's going upwards, and it's never going to stop. And nowadays, we have no choice but to throw trillions more, because what are we going to do? Just let everyone suffer from this pandemic? No. We have no choice, especially whoever wanted to win the election, right? You can't just say, oh, I'm not going to throw any stimulus out and expect to win the election, right? So people were basically forced, banks, feds were forced to throw this money out regardless of the consequence. And trust me, it's going to be great to get a quick buck now from stimulus, but that money's coming from somewhere, and there's going to be a cost to pay. I'm not saying I don't agree with stimulus. I'm looking at this from an investment, from a financial standpoint. And yes, it's great, but that money has to come from somewhere, and we just don't have it. We simply do not have it. America's broke. The only reason America The United States is the richest country in the world because we own the most gold. It's as simple as that. So, and I was thinking about that the other day, actually, and it's funny how we base the wealthiest country in the world off of how much gold they have. So let's apply that to individuals, right? So that means you could have $500,000 in your bank account, but someone that has, a couple ounces of gold could literally be more wealthy than you, because that $500,000 in 20 years will drastically be worth less than that. What I mean by that is $500,000 can get you a very nice house right now. You can get a lot with it. But in 20 years from now, that $500,000 might be around today's price of like $100,000, maybe even less. So the value of your money is going down. That's why a gallon of gas back in the day was 20 cents. Now it's not. Things are getting more expensive because the dollar is getting cheaper. It's tangible money, right? If you can't hold it, you don't own it. Simple as that. It's cheaper than gold. It's a more affordable, also more opportunistic form of gold. It's like gold on steroids. But it's also for the worst. It hits higher highs, but it also hits lower lows. So gold rises 5%. Silver's going to rise 15%. But it also works the other way. If gold's going to drop 10%, silver's probably going to drop 15, 20%. History is on silver's side, right? Like I was saying, it's been used as legal tender for hundreds of years, hundreds of thousands of years, or hundreds and thousands, around 5,000 years. And actually, back in the day, biblical Egyptian times, they thought silver was magical because silver could purify water. The way it responded with other elements was like no other metal. Silver is actually the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. Silver is definitely a unique metal, and it's pretty scarce, right? Everyone thinks gold is the best metal, but when you look at it realistically, silver is a much more useful metal than gold. Gold is used more for jewelry, earrings, necklaces, watches, right? More for showing off. Silver, though, industrially, is definitely more valuable. Silver offers anonymity, and that's definitely true whether you value your privacy or not. Silver has the same benefit as cash, and going kind of off the radar, not in the sense that you would think, but especially for like preppers, SHTF people, or even just people that kind of want to be in control of their own wealth. That's the way to go. When your money's in the bank account, that bank owns your money because they hold it. What if something happens, or what if emergency comes up and you have to get that money immediately? What are you gonna do? You can't take out that much money at once and you have to go to the bank. What if the bank's closed? You are letting them control your wealth. With gold and silver, you're in complete control. And that also works for ETFs. People say, well, my silver's in some vault halfway across the world. It's like, okay, it's great you invest in the silver, but it's in a vault halfway across the world. What are you going to do when you need that if there's an emergency? So some other things are the cons. So like I was saying, there's definitely cons, and that's to everything. There's pros and cons to everything. Silver, there's a lot less cons, right? And I said this in a video yesterday, and I loved it, actually. I came up with it on the spot, but this is it. I can give you a million reasons why to invest into silver, and I can give you barely any reasons not to. I can give you a million reasons why you shouldn't invest into the stock market, but I can't give you too many reasons why you should. You see what I'm saying? There's so many reasons why you should invest in the precious metals. There's really no cons. There's so many reasons why you should not invest in the stocks. I mean, the dollar's depreciating, systems collapsing, the pandemic has exposed things and sped things up, and stocks are pegged to the dollar, so it's like switching seats on the Titanic. You got to understand this stuff. And if you don't understand that, you shouldn't be investing in the first place, because honestly, it's so blatantly obvious that precious metals is the way to go. So cons of investing: lack of liquidity. It's definitely going to be a pain in the butt, especially if you invest certain ways. If you think you're just going to be like the guy on Pawn Stars that takes in this huge box of silver, dumps it on the table, and sells it for hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's very unrealistic. I mean, you could do it that way, but it's just not realistic in today's times. It's not how you're going to sell. And I mean that for this reason. Most people most people invest into not just American Eagles and Maple Leafs, but also coins like pandas, kookaburras, branch out, koalas, Queen's Beast series. There's so many beautiful and profitable coins out there. But if you go try to take a panda to your local coin shop, he's going to look at that coin and look at the metal content inside of it, not the silver attached, or not how collectible it is, not the mintage numbers made, nothing about that, nothing about that. He's looking at that coin as that's 1 ounce of silver, so I'm going to give you spot price, regardless of how much money that coin is actually worth, right? You could pay $40 for that coin, and honestly, he could sell it. He'll pay you probably 25. On eBay, though, if you resell these coins online, you can sell them for a lot more money, and I mean a lot. So that's really important to know. When you go to sell, you can definitely sell your American Eagles and Maple Leafs, coins where the design stays the same every year. Lots are minted, not very rare. You can sell those to your local coin shop, but when you go to sell your higher premium stuff, you're going to have to sell online, and that can be a little complicated. Think about if you have hundreds, if not thousands of ounces of silver, and you're trying to list all those coins online, taking 4 to 5 pictures per listing. Think about if you have hundreds, if not thousands. That's a lot of pictures. Writing out a description for every single one of those listings. I mean, it could be a full-time job within itself. Then you have to respond to everyone. You have to pay the PayPal fees, the eBay fees. So I recommend, and plus not only all that, you also have to build a reputation on eBay, because who would you buy silver from some random account that has no seller ratings? You're going to think it's fake silver or a scam. So what I would recommend is a couple of years before you're ready to sell, start selling little ounces here and there, just an ounce every month or a couple ounces to build some reputation. And you can start slowly. You don't want to list all that silver at once. You'll be doing it for weeks, and you're going to go crazy. You want to break, and this is true for selling anyways. You don't want to sell all at once. That means you're pegging your entire stack to that price. You want to break it up. You want to sell in increments, right? Because then you can gauge the price, and then you can see, hey, the price might keep going up. I might as well hold off and sell when it's higher, right? Because what if you sold your entire stack at a certain price, and then a couple weeks or a couple months later, the price rises where you could have got a lot more money? You got to do it in increments. So anyways, weak return on investment. So they're saying that it may not perform as well as other investments, but we got to consider, you have to incorporate where the economy is headed. This would be true if there wasn't a global pandemic and the dollar wasn't so weak. Number 4, higher silver demand leads to higher premiums. That also is true. That's why you're seeing $15 premiums on an American Eagle that's sold around spot price. That's a dangerous situation, because nowadays, that's the new normal. American Eagles being worth just as much as pandas, that's the new normal, because there's an extremely high silver demand from 5G, solar panels, like I said earlier, with the green energy revolution, electric vehicles, individual investors like you and I. There's a rising demand. Everyone wants a slice of the silver pie, but there's also a shortage, a huge silver shortage. So you got to be careful. You got to pay attention, and you got to know, you got to have a limit. Say, I'm not going to pay anything above $28 for an ounce of silver, and also do that with selling. I'm not going to sell anything below $30. I'm not going to do it. So then you have a safety net, because you have an actual price. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know there's a lot, but silver stacking can be a lot. I mean, you can keep it simple, but these are critical things. These are vital things that you got to know so you can become as profitable as possible. I mean, think about someone who doesn't know any of this stuff, that hasn't watched this video, and they go to sell or they're buying. They're not going to have the tools, have the knowledge, have the awareness to really profit the way, because this is some very important stuff to know, especially when you're going to sell. So Hopefully this video helped you. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. And more importantly, subscribe. I post daily videos. It's so important to stay in tune, especially with so much stuff going on. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.